Hey, it's Dave from Festool Customs here. Today I'm going to go over my favorite tool in my shop, I think at least, that I use a ton off-site also in the field, and that is my Tracksaw. This is the Festool TS 55. This is the FEQ F+, and this is the smaller of the brand. They also have, I think, a 60, and they have a 75, I believe, which cuts almost 4 inches. This cuts about 2 inches, and I'll show you exact measurements and depth of you could cut with this. We'll show you with a roller close up. But today I just want to go over this saw a little bit, why I love it, what it has provided for me so far, and it's been great. I can't complain. Yeah, it's pretty expensive when you especially go Festool. Now you can also go with like Wen makes them, Craig, Rigid, I think DeWalt and Milwaukee make them also. I'm sure other brands do too. You probably get the same results. Makita makes a real great one too. They also come through on track systems and everything. That's the thing. Your tool, your saw itself is as good as the as its accessories. And the accessories that you really need for these is your guide rails. This is the FS 1402 KP. This one's pretty cool because this has little brackets here that you can mount to your wall, and I'll show you the accessories that come with these that you can plug in. You can connect to a door or a wall, and you can cut diagonal or in horizontal. They also have another guide rail, which is this one here, which is the FS 1402 LR32. This one's cool because this one you can use for your router, your shelf pins, and do your plunge shelf pins. So it gives me a little more capabilities. I don't really use it for that, but it does give that that capability. And also with Festool, which is awesome because it's universal. You can use your shop vac system. I have the CT15 here. This is just the basic one. I have the regular hose, and I have just the regular power. I just took one of my power cords from one of my Festool tools because they're universal. So I use this for my jigsaw, my domino joiner, my sanders. I can just plug these right in. They're universal, and that's the good thing about these things that you can plug these all in, and they turn on automatically when you activate your tool, especially your saw. And it gives just gives you good dust protection. It's not the greatest, but it's adequate. And people say, well, why didn't you go battery? Well, for one, I like the power. That's why I want to cord it. It's a little cheaper, I think, but not much. I do have some Festool battery tools, but I'd like to cord it because it gives you more power, and also you're already tethered with your dust collection, unless you have a bag connected. Well, I do see some saws do have the bag, but this is just a better access. So if you're tethered already, what's the difference between having a battery or this? You already have a cable plugged into your saw, and I'll show you how to connect that. So let's go in what's inside the box. We'll show you that now, and we'll just go over the tool and why I like it and what I use it for. Okay, so let's go over what's in the box. So these come with a sustainer. It's a bigger sustainer since it has your saw in it, and it's a bigger device. So you can unlock it by just taking the switch. And these are also stackable, these sustainers. You can put your you can throw your your jigsaws and your carvacs, and you can these are sort of stackable. You can kind of lock them down like that, so you can kind of pick them all up together, as you can see. So that's a good thing. It's almost like the Milwaukee pack out system to a certain extent. It's not as adorable, in my opinion, but it works. So let's go what's in the box. So on the outside of the box, what I like about Festool too, it has these little tags. You don't have to P-touch label anything. It shows you everything you need to know about the saw. It has your numbers here, your part number here. It's made in Germany. I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in on that. Most of their tools are made in either Germany or I think Czech Republic, or I hope I'm saying it right. But I'll go over that later. But so they come with the little tags on, also on the side. You can also do the QR codes here. And I think you can register your tool that way, which I've done. I haven't had the user support, knock on wood, so far. So I don't know how great the support is, but I hear it's top notch. I think they're in Indiana, so for the local support. So you just turn your lever here, you open it up, and here's what comes inside. So it comes obviously with your saw. This, like I said, is a TS 55 FEQ Plus. I can't remember if it came with these. I don't think it did. I think the guide rail I got, and this is one I was showing you earlier. It comes with the parts. You can mount to your doors or walls and do horizontal cuts, etc. So it also comes with your manuals, paperwork, and also comes this little cool ruler here that you can replace your inches with your metrics. Because most Festool is metrics. That's what the 55 stands for. It stands for 55 millimeters. It also comes with your splinter guard. I don't really use this. I probably should, but I'll show you how I put that on. It comes with a splinter guard and the knob for the splinter guard. Also, the sustainer stuff also has this cool information up here that kind of gives some instructions, some some parts and what kind of blades you should be using, etc. Things like that. Also comes with another accessory here, this knob here you can adjust, and I think that's about it. I also have these are Power Tech. You get these from Festool, and I'll show you what these are. These are to attach your guide rails, your tracks, so you can have longer. So you can extend the 55 inches to 110 inches or whatever. They're smaller tracks, and I just put these in there with these little Allen wrenches here. I just leave these in the box. Okay, so let's go over the tool itself. Okay, so one of the things I want to show, and this is what you're mainly going to use it for, it's going to be using for your rip cuts and cross cuts, and also using as a jointer. So you can set your depth of your blade here. It's real simple. This little knob here you push up, and you can set your depth. Now, if you want to set you would do like a miter cut or something, what you do here is just loosen this knob, and there's one in the back here. You loosen both knobs, and now you can turn your saw to do a cut at whatever angle you need, and then you can lock it in with the same knobs here. If you want to do like a 30-degree cut, 35, 40, 45, you just set your knobs here and just tighten them up. You can also do a negative 90-degree cut by adjusting this here and popping this in, popping this over. I will probably never use that, but if you have something that's you need a slight bevel, something's not level, you can do that. But that's about it. So it also comes with the tool, and to change your blade is pretty cool. It just pop this up here. Hit your button and pop this up, and this will let you change your blade. I don't know if you can see here. You can hit your trigger here and drop down your blade. So now you can loosen it up with the tool that comes with it and take your blade off. So as you can see here also, this does have a private knife. Not all of them do. This one does though. This model does. Some just have like the anti-kickback. I guess it acts as that too. That's what a riving knife does essentially. But as you can see, it is level straight with the blade here. So that's pretty important to know that. So it does provide anti-kickback, but it's not as it's more of a riving knife. So since it is lined up with the blade, as you can see here. So let's look at the depth of the blade. So let's pull. So without your guide rail, oh, let me set, I'm sorry. That locks it in, like I said, to change the blade. Okay, so to set the maximum cut here, we'll take this and we'll drop it down to the maximum cut, which says about 2 inches here. It comes roughly over that, so we'll measure exactly. So if we take our saw, it's unplugged obviously, we'll activate it and we'll do a measurement. So from the bottom of the saw itself, it comes out to about 2 and looks like a quarter almost, essentially. Now if you add your rail, it comes out to just under 2 inches because you have to take account that thickness. So it's definitely adequate for you're using it for. For me at least, I am mainly using it for cutting tabletops to final length, or I'm taking it and I'm cross-cutting and ripping plywood. And that's when sometimes I'll use the splinter guard when I'm cutting plywood and things like that. But for the most part, this tool to me is so versatile, and I'm going to show you some more in-depth cuts and what I use it for. Like I said, it comes with the tool that replaced the blade here. Just pops out. And that's about all it comes with. And that's pretty much all you need. Like I said, your tools is going to be as good as your accessories though, unfortunately. So one of the things that you need to have is some kind of, like I said, dust extraction. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of system you're using, you need dust extraction, especially for this or like a domino, because you don't want to clog the port up. And your rails. Your rail system is very important. I have 2. I'm going to probably get another smaller one just to help maximize, you know, final length. Or if I'm doing smaller tabletops, I don't need these. Sometimes are even overkill. I could probably go with like a 3-foot one, which would be perfect. These are 55 inches. So if you're using these are perfect if you're going to combine them. One's good for plywood, but if you got to do a total cut to the full 8 feet, then you need to combine 2. 2 together obviously is 110 inches, so 9 foot, between 9 and 10 feet is about the max you're going to be able to cut with these. 10 feet is pushing it, but 9 feet is ideal. 8 foot is kind of what the standard is, but a lot of times if you're doing furniture, cabinets and things like that, you're going to have longer cuts, especially if you're using hardwoods. So that's what we're going to go over now. So let's go over some of the things that I like to do with this saw. Another thing you need to remember with this tool is you need some of the accessories. Accessories are very important. I use these clamps for my guide rails, the track system itself. These are just PowerTech. These are fairly cheap. You get these on Amazon or whatever. I could probably see if I could link these in the description. And also I have these PowerTech connectors for your guide rails. So these are important because you want to be able to clamp down your rails, especially if you're doing a heavy cut. And if you look at the back of your rails, you technically don't need the clamps, but if you do, if you don't use the clamp, these do have these little rubber feet, I guess you call it, like these little tracks on the bottom that kind of do hold your wood. But if you're doing like a thick cut or heavy cut, I would definitely recommend the clamps. And the clamps just kind of just slide on like so. We're upside down here, but that's how they just slide on, and then it will lock your piece of wood for example. You want to cut this piece of wood here, this will lock it down. Festool makes clamps that are probably even a little better, a little more secure. Going to be a lot more expensive, but you can also get them. And also I have, like I said, this PowerTech rail extender connection. These just slide in like so, and they connect each rail, and then you just tighten down with a little Allen key. Real simple, real quick, real easy. And then you just got to really just plug your saw in and you're ready to start cutting wood. I mean, like I said, I use it for cross cutting, getting straight edge. And the straight edge part is really awesome because that means you don't need to use a jointer, especially if you're using a smaller jointer like me. I have a 10-inch wide, but it's only, you know, about 3 feet long. I think the max you could really joint on this is about 5 feet, and that's cutting it, cutting it close. So typically, even though these extend out the arms, I just don't really like using it for bigger stock. So this tool is perfect for that. I use this strictly almost now for getting a straight edge on long boards, anything over 5 feet essentially, especially thicker wood, 2 inches. I try to use the Tracksaw. It's just a lot easier. It's safer. It has the anti-kickback, the riving knife, and then I'll take the other side and I'll cut it on the table saw when I get one straight edge. So that's the idea. So this tool is so versatile in that way. This tool you can use for, like I said, connecting to a wall and cutting it, horizontally, across, cutting the doors. I haven't really done a lot of that, but you can do that. But like I said, or you can use it for cutting, break it down your sheet goods. I have a job site saw, even though I'm on a big bench here, and it acts like a bigger saw. I still like to do cross cuts, especially with bigger plywood with the Tracksaw. Now you can also use a regular circular saw, like one of these guys here. I like to use just like a nice level and clamp, and then just hold that as my straight edge. As long as you have a straight edge, you can use this regular circular saw, and I've done that for years, and it does work. It's a little harder. Only reason why is because you have to take into account your rails on your regular circular saw. So if you have a regular circular saw, you have to take into account your rail system when you're starting to measure things out. So if you're laying this out, for example, this old Craftsman saw, you have to, when you measure it, you have to take into account your rail system. So that's why, it just adds a lot more math to your work. But it definitely works though. And if you don't care about like an exact measurement, then these work fine with a straight edge, a regular circular saw. It doesn't matter what kind either, corded or battery. I have different sizes. I use the bigger saw over here if I'm cutting like real thick stock and I want the power and I don't care about the accuracy as much. But if you want accuracy, you want to use a Tracksaw. It's just easier. You just set it up, you're done. You just plug it in, connect to the rail system, and you just kind of start ripping and cutting. And like I said, it's great for jointing. It's great for cutting down sheet goods. It's great for cutting down tabletops, the final length. I use it for every single project. And some projects I use this exclusively for the project. I've built an entire restaurant order almost with white oak when my table saw went down, with this saw and my planer. I use a jointer a little bit, but I mainly use this saw for everything. Probably about 80% of the project was this saw, besides like sanding and the glue and things like that, clamps. This saw was pretty much the all-in-one, and it got me through the project. So it's very valuable. So we'll go over, some of the cuts now, just give some examples and a little more detail. We'll show you how to do like a miter cut with this, and things like that. So we'll go over that now. A couple more little things with this saw, which I like. It does have your variable speed you can set here. I usually keep it on high. As you can see, you have that. Saw is made in Germany. Like I said, not a trigger for your saw. Here's your activation to lower the blade. Also, you have these little knobs here, and this will tighten up onto your guide rail if you have any play. Just so you know that you have one on the front and the back here. And really, that's about it. Most of the stuff is pretty plug and play. I just pretty much plugged this thing in, worked. Like I said, you can put your splinter guard in. This pops out here. Just pop this out. This little window. I like to leave it in personally because I like to have that window. But you can just pop that out and then you can plug in your splinter guard. It just pops right up here, and then this knob just screws in. It's really simple. We could go over that if you like, but I just keep it basic. I like the little window there. And here's the bottom of the saw. It just has like a flat base. Now I will say, the saw does have some plastic, a lot of plastic, like a lot of Festool. But it still feels durable. I mean, if you talk to some contractors like out in the field, like, it just don't feel as durable as Milwaukee or, DeWalt, because they have so much plastic and they seem flimsy. But to me, I mean, I've dropped these, you can see these have a lot of wear and tear on them, especially the rails and everything. I beat the hell out of my tools for the most part. I use them every day. I use this tool pretty much every day, in the shop vac every day. You can see that it has a lot of wear and tear. I've had these for a couple years now, and I use them constantly. I love them. So that's about it for this tool. Let's go into, like I said, some of the cuts you could do, some examples, and why I like this tool. And the versatility tool is, to me, it's just bar none. It's the best. I probably, like I said, use this tool more than any other tool in my shop. So let's go over some of the stuff. Okay, so let's do a cut. We're just going to cut this little piece of pine here. We're going to do a cross cut. We're going to act like we're going to cut a small tabletop. We're going to throw our guide rail on. And we'll just kind of going to throw right on this styrofoam here just to make it a little bit of a safer cut. You can plug your clamp in if you like, or you can just kind of lay it straight on here with the feet. It kind of stays pretty stable. And then we can take our saw, throw right on top here, and then plug in. The power plugs in nice and simple. Clockwork, and then the shop vac just kind of hose just plugs right in. This and this port here. So now we're plugged in, and when we turn the saw on, the shop vac will turn on, and we'll start collecting dust. So technically, what we're going to do now is just makes for a perfect cut. It's so straight, easy. You can cut your tabletops at final length within seconds with this. Now, I will say, when you're doing this, though, you still need to get, if you wanted like a straight edge, if you don't have a square end on one side, and you need to get the exact straight edge, you definitely are still going to need a square or something just to get your guide rail set correctly. For example, I need to have a straight edge here. So I'm going to take my square and make sure the guide rail is square to my square here. So that's, keep that in mind. Once you do that once, then after that you just take your final measurement, flip it around, then you put it the other side with the guide rail. You don't need a square essentially, because you already know you have one straight edge. So that's what you can do. So now if you want to cut like a 45-degree angle, take the same saw. I'm going to unplug the power though, just for safety reasons. And now we're going to take the knob here, and we're going to turn the back, and do the same thing in the front. Just turn counterclockwise, and now we can set our blade. Say we want to do like a 45-degree cut. See the knob there. It's sitting at 45-degree. This little knob here. So now we can tighten these once we set it. Just turn the knob clockwise. And now we're ready to do a 45-degree cut. And let's do that now. And there's your cut. Here's your 45-degree angle. Both sides. Now typically for this I would use a table saw. It's probably a little easier, probably a little safer, but this is another versatile thing you could do with this tool, which makes this tool is an A+, A- at worst. So far I've had this, like I said, for a couple of years, and this thing just works. I use it every project. It's pretty simple to use. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. The sustainer has good instructions. The pamphlets are great instructions. You can register them easy through the QR code. You can set your depth just as quick as a little plastic switch here. It's plastic, but it's definitely usable. It's so versatile, this tool. That's my take on this. This is a very, very versatile tool. Like I said, I could joint long boards that I can't use on the jointer. I can cut big pieces of plywood that I don't want to use on a table saw. I can do long cuts on other boards that are too thick or too warped for the table saw. You can cut your tabletops after you're done to your final dimensions. I use that every single project. I use this tool for that alone, and I do multiple tables a week. So I'm constantly using this tool. It's getting used pretty good, and it's not that heavy. It's maybe about, I'm going to say about 11, 12 pounds. There's no battery in this one, so it's probably a little lighter than the battery one. But it's a great tool. It's a very handy tool. It's very simple to use. There's nothing difficult about it. It's not intimidating. You can cut long boards, you know, on your walls. You cut door length. If you know you need to cut through your door with this saw. The bigger one probably better. It's the only regret I have is I didn't get the bigger saw. I wish I did. Or maybe I'll have to get that one also. I mean, it's definitely worth it. I don't cut as much 8/4 lumber like that. Most tabletops I do mill up come out to be about 2 inches in thickness typically, or less. So, but I do have at that occasion where I have to flip it over and use this twice. And that's where the rail definitely comes in handy, as long as your measurements are correct. These are great. Your accessories are very important. Your shop vac, you need all that, unfortunately. So that's the catch. So the negatives of this is the price. Obviously, I think this one is about $700. I think maybe $600, depending on the model. They can run up to $800, and the rails alone, I think I got these for $180 each. And then obviously your shop vac's gonna be another $400 something in your accessories. So you got to keep that in mind. But it definitely has made its money back for me. I've done restaurant projects strictly with just this tool. I've used it for every project, every tabletop this tool touches. It's almost as valuable or more used as my sanders, for example. And the good thing about the Festool, like I mentioned, is everything is universal. You can plug everything into your shop vac system, and it's all HEPA regulated. It's definitely better than your standard shop vacs for your tools at least, and it's easy with the little flexible hose there. I mean, these alone are like $50. I mean, when you buy these on Amazon, even if they're like not Festool. So that's the thing. This is a great tool. I would recommend it. I'm not saying you have to go Festool. You could go any brand. I think Milwaukee's is good. DeWalt's good. I mean, Wen makes one. A guy I'm friends that uses the Wen. He's used it for years. Now he did use this and liked this a lot better. We did a bunch of countertop projects and we used this saw for most of the project. And he definitely, I let him use it, and he's definitely bought in. He has his Festool sander and he has a shop vac already. So now I think he's going to upgrade to the saw. But I think he wants to get the bigger one. He does a lot of slabs. So that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. I have pretty good experience with the saw. I don't do a ton of like trick stuff, like, you know, miters and stuff like that. I usually use a table saw for that, but you can. It's flexible, it's easy. It's just 2 knobs here, like I said, these 2 knobs, and you can set your miter to whatever you want to cut it. You know, I think it goes to 45 degrees or 47 degrees if you adjust this little piece here, or you go -1 degree if you adjust these tabs here. I don't see a need to really do that. If I'm going to do a cut like that, I'm probably going to use a table saw. It's probably a little safer. That's it. It comes with a stainer. The stainer alone is probably worth about $100. If you see them on Facebook Marketplace and other places, they're fairly expensive. So we're going to resume. We're going to cut up this garage. We're doing some house projects right now. Taking all this T11 off, and this saw is going to be pretty valuable in that. I used it for a remodeling job I'm doing. I'm putting all this nice paneling up, and we're cutting all the sheet goods with this saw. You'll see that clips of that in this video. This is a great little tool, and I would recommend buying the Tracksaw of any brand. If you don't have the budget for this, I would get any one of them, as long as you have some kind of way to collect the dust. I mean, if you have the DeWalt Tracksaw, it's very good. The Craig one out here is really good. Milwaukee, Ridgid makes one. Wen makes one. And there's, I'm sure, other people that make them. I think Ryobi even makes one now. So you could get one on a budget. And if you're just DIY, I'd recommend that, honestly. But if you're like doing this and making money, I would probably go with something like this, because like I said, if you have the shop vac, bite the bullet once, spend once, cry once, whatever to say, or whatever that saying is. And I kind of take that to heart. I mean, it's definitely a real thing. Buy once, cry once. So I kind of take, I didn't do that at first. I have some cheap tools. I have some Ryobis, I have some Craftsman, and I beat these up. This doesn't even work anymore, I don't think. So you definitely, especially if they're not brushless. And this isn't, I don't think, brushless. That's the only negative with this. So the negatives with this, it's a lot of plastic, it's expensive, and I think it's not brushed. I mean, it's a brush tool. I think the new model, I think they have out now, it might be, and I think it has a fixed plug. I think that is brushless. That I hear that's a real nice saw. Yeah, it's a brush tool. I mean, it has a little flimsiness to it. I mean, some of the stuff is a lot of plastic. Some of these knobs, I feel like even if you drop it, you could break them pretty easy. So I try to be careful, but I do beat this up pretty good, and I haven't had any issues with it yet. I may have some scuff marks and stuff again on it, but I've had this about 2 years now, and I have zero regrets so far. It's a great tool. Positives are everything I mentioned. It's just very versatile. It just, everything you do with it just works. Never an issue. Doesn't bog down ever. I mean, the only time I have like bogged down issues is if I have power issues. And that's more, you know, the power, not the saw. I've had other saws kick back on me. This never has. The track makes it a lot easier, and the rails make it a lot easier to not do that. It has the anti-kickback and the riving knife on this one. So that's the positives. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.